Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just playing, man. I really hope you guys had a good weekend, good week. Good so far. I hope it's a good week. My week, man. Listen, my week's been a little crazy, especially at work. I've had people get mad at me at work. I'm just kind of, doing my thing. Mike, we appreciate you, man, and that goes for everybody that shows up on the show and watches it and subscribes and just really just engages with us, man. We really appreciate it. Davon, what's going on, my man? So, man, you guys, we do, everybody does with the Gorilla Lounge. We really do appreciate you guys supporting us. We're doing well. I'm just going to say that for right now. We're doing definitely very well. We're just going to keep going forward, so, but let's go back to the week. I really do hope everybody's having a decent week. Nothing too stressful, nothing too crazy. It's almost the weekend. And as everybody likes to put it, Friday, man, but it's Friday. Hope everybody has the weekend. I don't. I have to work my part-time job, and going to be doing that this Saturday for a 12-hour shift. So, yay me. But you guys, we do have a really great guest tonight. This guy came on. Let's see. We actually met. Me and this gentleman. We met at on TikTok, and I think I was on a live or something. I was doing something. I was just probably eating. I don't remember. He popped in, and my jaw about dropped because the guy was just. I think I was already following him because I liked his content. I really liked the positivity. The voice is pretty much what drew me in. I was like, hey, but the voice, the positivity, the positive vibes that he's got, man, it's just perfect combination. And he's a really, really cool guy. Popped in on the live and I was like, hey, man. So we ended up becoming friends on there. We chit chat here and there. BT Haunts, you're boy, let me tell you. Oh, wrong one. You moved on me. It's this one. Ain't no rest for the wicked. That's the truth. That is the God's honest truth. But I'm going to bring him out right now. So this guy's really cool. So you guys, let's give it up. Let's do this. Let's shoot shit. We're just going to have a good time tonight, you guys. All right. We're bringing him out.
Hey, what's going on? I'm with the gorilla. I love it.
Watch out. Yeah, so we were chit-chatting on sound check the other day, and it was just to go back on that day, and we made a joke about it. It was like, so you came in on the live, right?
Yeah, man, I saw your beard and I was like, this is a guy I gotta know, man. The bearded brothers have to stay together.
We do. There's another gentleman that's got a massive beard. It just comes way down. I really like him too. And he actually has a shirt called or content that's called Beard the Fuck Up. BTFU. No, you can't beat it.
Yeah, I had one of I'm not sure if it's the same guy or not, but one of them's got a hat with like the outline of his face and a giant beard on it.
No, different guy, but yeah.
He sent me some hats with the beard on it. I was like, man, this is all right, man.
Really? Man,
yeah.
Hey,
cool.
that's what I need. Maybe I need to get me some hats like that.
There's so many cool people on here, man. It's unbelievable.
So when did you start? When did you jump on the wonderful TikTok, the wonderful social media of TikTok?
Yeah, so it's funny because I had started an account, like 3 or 4 accounts before I started this account. And I just got on because I went to like a video. I was bored and it was a pandemic and I wanted to just kill some time. But I went to like a video and it wouldn't let me like it. So it said you had to join in order to like videos. So I was like, all right. So I was like, how am I going to choose my screen name? So I did something like Superman Dad or something like that. And I was like, no. I posted a couple of videos. Nobody saw it. I think I just got kind of like discouraged. And the last time I did it, I was thinking this was like the 5th account. And I was like, you know what? This time I'm not going to have an account where I care if anybody sees it or not. I'm just going to leave my kids like a vlog of like how stupid I am, you know? Like,
Yeah.
They've heard me sing. I'm going to sing. They've heard my dad jokes a million times, and I'm going to leave my dad jokes. And then I like to do voices. So I'll get on there and I'll do voices. And when I was in high school, I wanted to be a rapper. And so, I was tall, I'm 6'8", and I was probably 6'5" in high school at like 14, something ridiculous.
Lord.
And I was like, man, I'm going to be Ivory Tower. There's the rap group. I'm going to be Ivory Tower. And that didn't work out too well for me. So everybody calls me the Viking because of the modern day Viking shows,
Right.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to be Vikingtower. And
there you go.
I joined in May. And so I just had my year anniversary last month.
Shit. And how many people you have following you now?
Today, I just did a video yesterday I was telling you about, and it's been seen like 165,000 times since I was on last night.
Right.
So with that comes a lot of followers. So I'm almost at 200,000 now.
That's good. That's good. Making that cool. TikTok cash.
Yeah, it's not much to that, I'm afraid. I mean, maybe if you have 1 million followers, so I hope to let you know someday.
You're making that whopping 30 cents every 10,000 views.
Yeah, I look at that and I was like, 3 cents. I think I made 3 cents yesterday. I was like, wow.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're rolling. You rolling, son.
That's almost stamp money. I'm almost in stamp money.
You almost go buy like a thing of air for your tire. Because isn't it like a quarter? No, it's a quarter. That's more expensive.
I don't like to go crazy. You know what I mean? I had a couple of videos that did pretty good. And like one day I made like $5 and I was like, wow, if I made $5 a day, you could feed a Viking for the rest of his life. That was pretty cool. It just wasn't very long lived though.
One turkey leg at a time.
One turkey leg at a time.
And them big old turkey legs too. It's like them turkeys are like from I don't know. They get huge, man. I'm
like a Renaissance fair.
Yeah. I don't think that's a real turkey leg though. Be honest.
I think it may be human. I'm not sure, but it's delicious. So that's what's important.
Yeah. It damn sure ain't no damn turkey leg. I mean, we've seen the 20-pound birds or the 16-pound birds at like, let's see, your East, probably, I don't know. You probably got like do you have Kroger or Publix or anything?
Publix.
Winn-Dixie.
Publix and Winn-Dixie, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you've seen the butter balls. Those turkey legs are nowhere near the same ones that they sell at the Renaissance.
No.
So anyway,
they're going with it though.
So you have to, since you're on the show, you have to do the sacred story time.
Story time.
Yeah, there it is. Had to get that out. Had to do that one. That's awesome. So I'm pretty sure you got some good stories.
Well, like the first, okay, so my account, I had like 3 followers for 3 months. I mean, the first 3 months, nothing happened. And I think I got up to like 30 followers. And I joined this follow party. And I've seen her on like Scott D. Henry's, show and TikToks and stuff where he got his start with her. And the truth is I joined the follow party, like whatever she was doing. I haven't seen her on TikTok in a while. But I joined that and I had like 30 followers, and then I got to 300 like within like 2 days. And so that gave me kind of like my base to like at least somebody see my videos. And I did a TikTok on tall guy problems. And I went into this gas station and this guy was like $1.50 and he was like, "You think I can beat your ass?" And I was like, he seemed a little slow to me. So I was like, yeah, anything's possible. That's what I thought. And so I came out and I got in my truck and I was like, tall guy problems, and it went viral, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody saw it for a change, right? And I was, it was dying. And that's kind of how story time started. I realized that people like to hear the dumb shit that happens to me almost every day of the week. Like,
yeah.
100, I could do 10 hours of
this. So you're 6'8".
Right.
How tall was he? You said he was $1.50, maybe, probably 5'6".
5'6" if. Right? He's like, hey man, you think I can whip your ass?
Hey,
Sure, bud.
beat your ass.
I think you can. There's weight classes in boxing for a reason, but sure, anything's possible. Yeah, that's
Hey,
what
man.
I thought. That's what I thought.
Exactly. You kind of sit back and go,
Of course, all the $150 guys are like, you don't know, we're scrappy. And I was like, I sort of know.
Yeah.
Know.
Yeah, here's the deal. They and then the smaller guys are always saying, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And then
but you have to knock them out. Like you have to knock them out, right?
My thing is like the smaller you are, the further you fly. So
yeah. Well, me and my brother, we went into that country western bar in Panama City. And I'm sitting there having a good time. And this guy comes up to me, he's real young and he's real cut. And he's grabbing on my arms and he's grabbing my forearms, which is inappropriate. I mean, you don't usually touch strangers. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, man, I think I'm going to whip your ass. And my brother was like, I don't think you should. I don't think you should try that. I think you should go home. Like, I think you should, do anything else with your time but that. Mm-hmm. So, like, when we go out, it's like, usually the smallest, drunkest guy in the club wants to see if he can take me.
Mm-hmm. He thinks he's in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to take out the biggest guy. Though. Oh, I'm sure. So what is it like? Like, do you, your brother and your kids, you've got two, right? Two kids?
Three
kids. Okay.
Yep.
So do you guys all go out and then just kind of like, just chop it up, have a good time?
Well, normally, like I don't go out with my kids, but we went to Destin a couple of months ago. And, I told you I like to do the voices. My kids like to do the voices. They're equally as dumb as I am. And we go in the restaurant and they're like, hey, can we just talk with a British accent and order all our food?
Yeah.
Talk the whole time like we're British or whatever. So I'd like a spot of tea, please. And I'll have, can I get I'd like to get a menu, please. And so I think that's Australian actually, but whatever. We were doing
it doesn't matter.
Zoe's 18 and Dax is 14. Mm-hmm. And each one of us is like, oh, do you have any crumpets or whatever the whole thing, right? So the girl goes, man, I really love your accent. Where are you guys from? And all at the same time, we're like, we're from here. Like, yeah. I don't understand. We're like from Fort Walton. So
and she's like,
oh man, she's like, I want to be a part of your family. Like, I want to go out and pretend because it went on for a long time, a lot longer.
That's awesome. Well, it just so happens we're looking for adoption. So
that's right. We're looking for weirdos.
Yeah,
and, that's the cool thing about TikTok is a giant family of weirdos and fun people, man.
Mm-hmm. So, have you met really anybody off of TikTok, or is it just kind of just staying social?
Just staying social for the most part. Like sometimes people will be like, "Hey, I'm in town," or "Hey, you want to go get a drink?" But they never, it just never works out or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, for the most part.
So, how many women you have like banging on your door?
Well, it depends on. Like, when you come in my lives, it's usually really interesting because it's like a lot of fun though, and this is the way I look at it because people ask me, hey, they're like, it's like a meat market in there sometimes, mm-hmm. There might be 10 or 15 people and they're all like hitting on me, asking me if I'm single and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just, here's how I look at it. Everybody's like shut in right now and everybody's, suffering through a pandemic. And the cool thing about TikTok is like, it introduces you to people you really don't know, but they might be on your For You page every day. So to you, they might be a star or whatever. Mm-hmm. They might be famous or whatever. And you get to talk to them. And you get to interact with them and you get to hit on them. And I mean, who can you do that with? Like if you go into, like I go into the Rock's lives all the time and there's like 16,000 people in his live. So it's just like he's in a stadium again.
Right.
But in our lives, in my lives, it's just a few people, 50, 60, 100, whatever. And,
see, that's cool.
So, yeah, it's just fun, I think it's just a lot of fun.
That's all it's about. People I think sometimes I take TikTok just a little bit too seriously and it's just for fun. So I have a video of somebody was cutting into like a hamburger and that hamburger squirts. And I went, I should call her. And that was it. Well, that video just went nuts because a lot of the people are like, hey, are you single? And like, what is happening here? Like, I don't even know what's going on. But I mean, I can take that same video stitch it and turn it around and go and be like, oh my gosh, did you guys see that apple? That's like watermelon juice coming out of that apple. I wouldn't eat it. And then people will call me stupid, but I'll have millions of views
Right.
just for calling it something dumb. So it's
Right.
like people will take it a little bit too serious, I think, sometimes. So I have fun with TikTok.
Yeah, like I've heard people say about like the drama side and the bully side and all that. I don't see it. I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen people like, stitch a video of it, but I don't like it because I don't want that back on my
Right.
feed. And what the thing is, like, I did this video where this lady Rhonda, this is my real like first viral video. Is it was during the pandemic, and she was like, "Hey, can you say that Rhonda wanted to kill her family or whatever, but she didn't, because she was shut in with them during the whole pandemic?" So I did the whole voice, and I'm like, Rhonda wanted to kill her family, but she, and then
right,
it went viral, and all these people were using the sound, like that's the first time anyone really used my sound. And so people started trolling that or whatever, just because, I don't know, how do you even troll that? It's like dumb stuff. And I didn't entertain it. I just deleted them, blocked them or whatever, and went on. I'm like, I'm not,
right.
I'm not here for that. I'm here for fun.
Yeah. You spread a lot of positivity. That's for damn sure. You get anybody on your lives that are just like really down in the dumps, or are they all pretty much like uplifting? Like it's
it's probably been a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a live, and I don't have like themes. Like I'm starting to like think about doing themes just so that people can come in with a prepare for it and have a specific thing they want to talk about. But it's real organic. And like one night, this woman said, my husband just died, and I'm really struggling about being alone. And I had done some grief counseling previously, and so I shared some things that I thought might help her. And then the next thing you know, it was like 4 or 5 people that lost their dad, lost their husband, lost a kid, and they all happened to be in my live at the same time. And I was like, man, this is like kismet. This is like, I don't know how the universe works or whatever, but I was like, all these people are here, and they started like supporting each other and encouraging one another. And some of them talked off the, in their message rooms or whatever. And people were telling me like, you know what, that really helped me deal with my grief. And I was like, how crazy is it that like I'm just bored on a Thursday night and boom, people are helped in some way. I just love that, man. It's really gives me a lot of pleasure.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, especially when somebody comes up to you or says it to you on your live and be like, man, you really, or messages, man, you really helped me out. I was down in the funk. You really pulled out, the happiness again. So that's, it's a positive. So
I had a lady the other night, she messaged me, and she said that something awful had happened to her, and she was a rape victim, and she had never really talked to anybody about it, but she felt drawn to share it with me. And she was an older lady. And and you have to ask yourself in that moment, like, what do I do in this moment? Like, how do I make the most out of this? And I just shared my heart with her, and how sorry I was, what happened to her, and how that one moment, is part of her life, but it's not her whole life. And she's still living in the shadow of that one moment, and how it was traumatizing her continuously. And I shared with her just how, like the best way to approach that situation is to live a vibrant, happy, peaceful, energetic, exciting life, and not let that demon or that thing, control the rest of your outcomes. And I was like, you know what? It just really helped to talk to somebody about that and get a different perspective on it.
100%.
And so I just think, man, this is crazy. I just wanted to embarrass my kids, man.
And look what's happening. It's kind of like you do get to embarrass the kids, but then on the same side of that, on that token, you sit back and go, you know what? Okay, I can help you out. We'll chit chat. We'll talk.
Yeah, I like helping people, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
Now, have you ever done that before? I mean, we talked about it before, but nobody else really knows. So
helping people. Yeah, man. It was probably 2000. I think it was around 2001. I started doing compassion projects, and I built some wells in Africa, and I really enjoyed that experience. I went to Nigeria, and went into villages like, they were walking 5 miles one way to get a bucket of water and walk back 5 miles. And I just thought to myself, that's trash, man. Like there's no clean water or whatever. So me and my ex at the time, I started getting really successful in my business at work. And I was like, I started out super poor. And so I was like, you know what, whenever, I'm enjoying being in poverty because poverty teaches me humility and teaches me to appreciate everything that I have. So I said, if I ever have any extra money, I'll help people with it. So I got promoted really quick at Eckerd Drugs, and I was making a whole twice, 3, 4, 5 times as much money as I was making in the beginning. And we were eating hamburger helper in the beginning. We didn't have any hamburger. We just called it helper.
Right.
We didn't have rice-a-roni. We had a roni.
Roni.
And so we started doing that. But then all of a sudden, we had excess. And so we started doing all these compassion projects. And we sponsored, we had 72 kids in an orphanage in India that I ran from a 501c3. I went into 501c3 work where we had the #1 food pantry in Volusia County for 10 years. And then we just traveled. I worked with an outfit that rescued women and children from sex trafficking for a while. And we did feeding centers in Nicaragua and so on and so forth. So, I've done a lot of that, but I got burned out. Right. And I took some time off. And I was like, and then it was like it got put right back in my lap, through TikTok. It's like, I took 3 years off, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, here's an opportunity to help people again. And I love it because it's not
on a different level.
I don't do it for money, and I don't do it for, religion and all. I just do it because I enjoy it,
Right. Awesome. And it's completely different. You're not having to travel. You're not traveling anywhere. You're sitting right here behind a screen, hanging out, doing your thing, and you're still helping people. So that right there is your calling, period.
I just feel like you should do, somebody said to me, I think it was Tommy Barnett, and he said, do whatever you can with what's in your hand and it'll be multiplied. And so like I went to this thing and I was like, I want to do a food pantry. And he was like, oh, you want to start a food pantry? And I was like, yeah, I want to start a food pantry. He said, why don't you just take some extra groceries that you have and put them in a bag? And if you see somebody in need, you give them like a bag of groceries.
There you go.
And so it started from that to the #1 food pantry in Volusia County. And that was from 2008 to 2018 when the economy crashed. And so we were feeding hundreds of families every week. And but that's a great story too. That was a fantastic thing that happened. But yeah.
And what do you do, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do now full time? I know damn well it's not TikTok, and obviously it's not the food pantry.
No, I'm the operations manager for A.T. Roberts Roofing.
So no more Eckerd.
No. I work with Eckerd. I left Eckerd's, and we didn't talk about this the other night, but I was a young executive. I had a 5-year plan. I became one of the youngest district managers in 5 years. I was 30 years old. I was running 38 drugstores, 115 stores as a loss prevention manager, and it was climbing the ladder. And I just was like, you know what? Like, I haven't been home much. I was winning all these awards, but they were just like plastic, and checks. And I was like, you know what? Money's not that important. And so I wanted to do something more to serve the community. So I started with this organization as kind of like an assistant, and just took a big pay cut and went into ministry full time. So I got my ordination and 3 different ordinations with 3 different organizations.
God bless America.
And
what don't you do? What don't you do?
I was the senior pastor and president and CEO of a 501c3 for 10 years. And I did a lot of those compassion projects, traveled all over India, Africa, China, Hong Kong, Dubai, Pakistan, Nicaragua.
Holy cow, dude.
Yeah, man. But I'm not a religious person anymore. I'm a very spiritual person.
Right. Okay. I can imagine your resume right now.
I don't fault anyone though. I mean, like if you believe whatever you believe, if it makes you happy, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot of people, like I've even told people, listen, I'll go to church, if I feel like church, if I need it, I'll go. And then it's like, but you know what? A lot of times my Sundays, if I went out fishing and it was a nice day, you know, you're out there before dawn, you're casting your line. That's what it's about. It's about the mindset, resetting your mind, getting clarity, and then going, thank you. Thank you for this. This is what I need. And sometimes that's my church. I'll go fish or I'll go for a hike, take my son and we'll go hiking.
Well, you know, I tell people, like, I know a lot about, I spent 10 years studying scripture and translating Greek into English and the Hebrew into English. And I know what it says. And it's not what a lot of people say it says or practices in America. And that's okay. America has its own version of that book and that Bible and that whole of it. But what it does say is that the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself as love. And I tell people all the time, like, you realize, like, that's the fundamental truth or the foundation of the entire Old Testament, New Testament, everything.
Love.
With people, it's love. You know, and like I said, I'm not religious, but I am very spiritual, and I believe truth is truth. You know, and so whether Gandhi said it or whether Buddha said it or whether you find it on an eightfold path or you find it through meditation or whatever spiritual path you're on, truth is truth. And I really believe that some of the coolest things that were ever said was that the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself as love. And so I try to live my life where, like, I express what I believe and who I am by loving people and encouraging people and trying to, you know, be, like you said, a positive influence. There's enough bullshit and enough dumbasses in the world to fill the whole thing. But just being kind or being loving or being accepting can really change a person's life. It can really make a difference.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, if you want to play a little game of what if that person is on his way to go do something to himself, and you held the door open to him and went, you know what, dude, I like what you're wearing, man. I really like that shirt, and he didn't go do it because somebody gave him a positive feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, like you said, I do a lot of positive stuff where I'm encouraging people or I'm, you know, I'm doing a daily affirmation. And, you know, I was doing this thing about, you know, you're beautiful, you're important, you know, you're wise, you're talented, you're all these things that you are, but you can't see it. But other people have told you that you're this or that or put labels and all that. And you're not a label and you're not, failure is not a person. It's an activity and it's not a destination. It's a stepping stone. It's a ladder. It's a rung on a ladder. And this lady, she DM'd me and she said, I was going to kill myself, but I came across your TikTok. And I've just had so many people say, man, when I was feeling this way, or I thought my life was going this way, you're just popped up on my For You page and it made a difference. And I thought, man, how powerful is social media if we just use it the right way? That's why you never hear me say anything political. You know, I don't care who you voted for. You know, I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Your character is about the content of who you are as a person. Martin Luther King Jr., he said, you know, it's not the color of our skin, it's the content of our character. That's how we should judge people. And so that's all I care about, man. You can be a loving, genuine person and vote for either side or not vote at all. You know, it just doesn't matter that much. In the grand scheme of things, I've been on the deathbed of a lot of people because I had a big ministry for a while, and I had, you know, a lot of people died, and I used to do a funeral sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and so I've been at the bedside when people are dying, and no one ever said to me, Republican. That was never anyone's last word. No one ever does that. You know, Joe Biden. You know, they don't care. In those moments, you know what they want? They want their family. Where's my family? You know, or they have regrets. You know, I wish I'd spent more time with my kids, or I wish I'd, you know, hadn't worked so much, whatever. No one ever goes, are you gay? I mean, it doesn't. And so when you study like death, like if you're there that close to it, you realize that the things that matter most isn't what most people are talking about.
Right.
I just try to stay on point and just talk about the things that matter the most to me.
That's good. God bless, man. You're just like this. Oh my God, just straight up positive. And it's so addicting. That's an addictive trait right there. It's like I could just sit here and just listen and just be like just mesmerized. Hold on. Chris was asking earlier, are you ex-military?
No, but my father was a master sergeant. So
What
I was
branch?
raised Air Force.
Air Force.
And we grew up on the Air Force Base. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And that's how I raised my kids. And I had an opportunity to go into the military out of high school, but I went to play basketball instead. It was either full scholarship or full, ROTC. And I was just like, I'm not getting up at 4:30 every morning and running 10 miles in the slop.
No. So you played basketball.
Played college ball. Yeah. I was pretty good in high school. And I got picked by Troy State, and Troy State. It's an interesting factoid while we're on this is they were Division II, we were Division II, but we went to the national championship. I think 4 out of 5 years or 4 out of 6 years. We went to the dance where we finished number 2, 2 or 3 times, and so we were literally the best college basketball team in Division II or number 2 every year for several years. And we were that way in football. And then we switched over and went to become Division I and started playing teams like Auburn and Wyoming and, Florida State and all different kinds of changed our conference. But I was on the team in the that won the Gulf South Conference. And my 5 minutes of fame, I was in ESPN, on ESPN and in Sports Illustrated we scored the most points ever in a college basketball game, 258 points.
Holy fuck.
And I had 26 points that game.
Nice.
I bet 7 dunks in that game, man.
7?
Yeah, 7 dunks.
Wait, was there like no defense? It was just you.
No, it was a point every. It was like a point every so many seconds. It broke 15 records, and it's in the Guinness Book of World Records still today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet you still have like the newspaper clippings and all that good stuff.
If I thought about it, it's in my desk drawer in my office. I would have brought it in here.
That is too fucking amazing.
The Sports Illustrated with it was a Riddick Bowe issue when he won. And when he got knocked out, I don't remember which one. But.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe. Yeah. Oh my Lord, Riddick Bowe. Yeah. Well, you buzzed out an old name.
Well,
holy God, you're not that old, man. No, you just leveled up, bro. We're just leveling up. We're not even getting older. We're just leveling up.
And then I did a lot of work with the VFW. So, patriotism and loving your country was always important to me growing up. And so we used to celebrate the VFW, the guys from the VFW every year, and they would come in and do the color arms and do a color guard and all that stuff. And yeah,
awesome.
I love the military. I live in a military town now.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool. I can imagine what that's like. Nothing but like a whole bunch of American flags hanging around, and that's got to be pretty legit. BT Haunts was asking, what was your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
That's an interesting question because I have been asked that before, and a couple of places really stand out. When I was in Nicaragua, the people there, it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It was poorer than Haiti until the hurricane hit Haiti. And a lot of people don't know that. So one of the reasons we were there is because it's number 2. It's the poorest. We also supported Haiti too. Phyllis Newby down in Haiti. But we went there because we took a trip, and the trip we had planned got rerouted to Nicaragua. And so I went like 6 or 7 trips to Nicaragua. And the people there, they were so poor, but they were so happy. And this was before the uprising and all of that. I know they had like a war with the Sandinistas again in the last few years. But when we were there, the kids, they just played all day long, and they were so happy, and the laughter and the food was so great. And they didn't have anything. And it was like really eye-opening because I would take groups of kids that were like from like 15 to like 25. And they would get to see that there was a whole different world out there, and that people lived differently, and not everybody had video games and phones and access to cars and, all this other stuff. And some of the young people that went on the trip with me were like, they don't have anything and they're happy. And I was like, I think that's the key. That's part of the key is to not be into materialism and to not, be bogged down in all of that. But that was one of my favorites for that reason. And then I really, 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 really loved China.
Okay.
I went to the Great Wall, and I went to Beijing, and the people. I got up in the morning. I think we were in Kunming, and it might have been Beijing, but I went outside because you're all upside down, and you got and I'm looking, and there's like 500 people doing Tai Chi in the park, and I'm like, what? And then you look over, and there's like hundreds of people playing badminton. And I didn't realize that badminton was so big in China, but like people looked like they were 80 years old playing badminton at top speed. And then Tai Chi over here. It was just so peaceful, man. I was just like, I want to come back here. And then my third, I think probably my top three would be Israel. I was in Israel, in Jerusalem, I think it was 2007. And the food, and the city, there's a law in Israel that when you're in Jerusalem, the capital, every building has to be made out of Jerusalem stone. So all the buildings are the same yellow golden stone, and it's like the golden city. That's literally what they're talking about. So you can't build anything inside the city limits of Jerusalem unless you build it out of this gold stone. So it looks like a city out of
wow.
And I was just like, wow, I didn't know that much about it. I've never been told that before until I was there, and it was just a fantastic experience. The food, the hummus, the grapes were bigger, the olives were gigantic. It was just like, when you're a big guy and you like to eat, I highly recommend a trip to Israel just for the food, man.
So there's nothing like eating an olive the size of your fist.
And they have these ancient olive trees that are supposed to be there from like the time of like the beginning of time or whatever.
Yeah.
And they have these fences around them, and they're this big. Like they're really well known in Israel for irrigation that runs the riverbeds that run under the cities. Actually feed through the silt and all that stuff, and they have some of the biggest vegetables and fruits in the world over there. It's really amazing
because of the circulation, all the water.
Yeah, there's it's like
irrigation.
It's of course they always liken it to, well, of course it's that way. It was where Eden started or whatever. But
so how long ago was that when you went to China?
I went to Beijing right before the Olympics because they were still building the facades and making the city look like Manhattan. Interesting about China is like you can be in Beijing and then 10 minutes later you're in a world that's 3,000 years old and everybody looks like Mama San and Papa San in the old paintings. So the only people that are like modern are the people that move to the cities are modern, but everybody else is like, it's like 3,000 years ago. In the same way in Africa, I went to areas that were, 5 hours away from the airport, and everybody's house was still made out of mud. Like I couldn't compute the Industrial Revolution that hit America, the way America is, the reason why so many people want to come here, and it's not because we're great, it's because we're just so different. Like we're so advanced technologically. Then you go, oh yeah, China is too. Only in the cities, the major cities. The rest of the country is like it was 3,000 years ago. And so there's this clash between cultures of the older people who want things to stay the same and the younger people who want to move to the cities and live, kind of like we do with all the technology and all that kind of stuff. And so I just found that so fascinating, man. It was just and I fell in love with the world and people of different religions and faiths and all that because I saw the sincerity and the intensity and the hunger and the beauty in like each place I went, man. I went there with such an open heart and I learned something and I brought something more back than I ever took with me. So it was just a great time.
Man.
That's a great question.
Yeah. It was a great answer.
Thanks, man.
Holy cow. You're just a man of many different talents. That's for sure. Like you've traveled and you've done so much that it all goes right back to the very beginning of you helping people out.
Yeah. So like I grew up, both my parents were alcoholics and they were, my mother was abused when she was a kid. So she, struggled with, her temper and didn't really know how to show love and to show kindness. And so she was really a pessimist. She was one of those people and I love her. She passed away several years ago, but if it was hot, it was too hot. If it was cold, it was too cold, And she was always really negative and critical. And I found myself as a kid trying to like talk to her and saying, no, yeah, that's bad, but have you considered the silver lining? So all the trauma that happened to me in my life, I was physically abused as a child, sexually abused as a child, and all of that trauma just really helped me to how I responded to it. I was pretty bitter about it. My dad died when I was 21 of terminal cancer. And I went through a lot of like pain, and it could either make me bitter or it could make me better. And I could either see those things as an opportunity to appreciate life and to live it differently, or I could wallow in self-pity. And it just clicked in my 20s that I'm going to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And I got this mindset. It's not as important what happens to you as how you respond to it. And there's all kinds of examples of that. Like guys that came back from war that became drug addicts and never, made it home. And the guys that came back from war and went in politics and made a huge impact on the culture because they decided to do something with all of that pain and all of that suffering that was positive. And so I've been trying to live my life like that, for the last 40 years.
That's cool. And you're really showing your kids how to be a better human. Not like a lot of the other kids that are just like the trolls that are all over social media and being just jerks. You're teaching your kids to be the complete package of staying and maintaining that positive influence on people. And that's, man, I applaud you for that one, man. That's a tough job.
Well, it's tough. It's, made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I try to grow from each one.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
I thought I knew everything. Like, like Mark Twain said, your kids, they know everything. When your kid's 16, they look at you and they say, man, my dad is so stupid. And when they're 35, they go, man, my dad was the smartest man in the world. And so that whole process of hearing those things and reading those things, I've lived those things, man.
Yeah.
I just want my kids to do the best they can with what they have from here on out.
That's good. And you're doing it, man. Honestly, you're doing it. You're slaying it. As a lot of these women would say, oh, you're slaying it, queen, but you've got it, king. Viking, you got this. Wendy's, what are you the most proud of? Out of all of you have been able to do, what are you the most proud of?
I think that's a great question. That's a great question. My kids, I went to a Martin Luther King celebration in DeLand, Florida. It was probably about 5 years ago. Was that about 5 years ago? When we went to where was it, like 3? Anyway, we went to this Martin Luther King celebration. And it was about 6 years ago. Yeah, about 6 years ago. And so Zoe was like 12 and Dax was like 8, right? So they're not very old. And, I got invited by my secretary, and I went to something like this every year. I went to Washington, D.C. to celebrate like his birthday and at the centennial, because he made such an impact on me growing up. And we're at this event, and I told my secretary, who was African-American, I said, how will you find us in the crowd? And she's like, I'll look for you. You're really tall. And I was making a joke because there was literally 3 white people in the whole crowd. Because I have my humor sick, and I will bust on people. And they don't even know it sometimes.
Yeah, I do the same shit, man. And we're there.
It's so much fun messing with people, because most people are just naive and not paying attention. But I was looking around the auditorium, and of course, I was disappointed that there weren't more people of different races and all that there. And they start the lights come up, and they start talking about the life of Dr. King. And they started talking about acceptance and being a person of integrity and being the best, street sweeper and all that. And my kids were shaking their head. Yeah, they were shaking their head. Yeah. And my Zoe turns to me and she said, Dad, we already believe all of this. You've already taught us all this. And so my proudest moment, the thing that I'm most proud of, is that my kids, all of them, all 3 of them, love people unconditionally, or do not judge people or criticize people, and are very open to how people are. And they give me a lot of credit for that, because that's how I raised them, to just love everybody and to let people show you who they are. And I was trying for a long time, to my own fault, of trying to leave a legacy, because I'd kind of bought into this legacy thing where you leave a big legacy and you save the whole world and all this stuff. But then I really just it boiled down to this: is my legacy is my children, and they're going to be raising my grandkids and my great grandkids. And so I just want my kids. I said I made this my because I didn't know if I was going to die in a year or 10 years. My dad died relatively young at 52. And I just said, when my kids die, I want them to know that they were loved unconditionally by me, that I always accepted them and I always believed in who they were and wanted them to be whatever they were going to be. And I would not have any criticism or judgment, but I would only guide them. And I feel like they are, with all the different nuances of children and their different ages, deep down, I know how good their heart is. And I think that's the most important thing to me.
Fuck yeah. That's good. I like that. I mean, that's the honest answer right there. Wendy says, what have you not done that you definitely would like to do?
Oh man, I actually have a list. I like that question. I want to travel to all the states in the U.S. Like when I get older, I want to retire and like get a Winnebago or whatever and drive and like go to every state, because I don't really know what people are like in Arkansas. Well, I know Arkansas. That's a bad example. My aunt's from there. Like Tennessee, I know. Let me think of like I haven't spent a lot of time in Maine for one, and I don't know that much about Kansas, and I would just beautiful. I would just like to see. I'd like to see all of America, because I've seen a lot of the world. And then there are places that I'd still like to travel. I really, I want to travel to, Italy. I want to travel to Spain. I want to go to the museums. I want to see art up close. I'm really excited about that. But there are two things that I want to do that I've never done. And one is I want to do karaoke in front of a big live audience. Like I want there to be a bunch of people, though, not just like my phallus. Like I'd like it to be packed so I can make a fool of myself or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I want to do stand-up comedy, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Do stand-up comedy. And so I hope that before I die, I get to do those two things.
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low. Yes.
I love it.
Because I've never done karaoke and I've never done stand-up. And no, I'll let you do it. You can have them both. Let's see. Chris was asking, what's the worst place you've been to? I guess you could answer. I guess you could have two ways to that answer. What's the worst? Like the one that made you just your heart hurt, or one that's just like, oh my gosh, this weather just completely sucks. So I don't know which way I'd probably hit both of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Where I was at in California, I was up in the north, and it was 110 degrees outside, and but with the index, it was like 120. And I couldn't breathe. And I was like, I don't know how anybody lives here or why. Like I mean, Florida's hot. It was 100 degrees this week, but it's not that kind of hot. But if you define worst as like the worst economic or the worst like crime ridden, kind of stuff, I've been in the slums of everywhere I've gone, because we always do ministry. We always did ministry where we worked, but it wasn't the worst because of the people that were there. It wasn't the worst because it was poor. It's just that people just were hopeless. And that's the thing, the saddest place. And it's a lot of places. It's not like one part of geography, is that when people are born into abject poverty and they don't really have a way, they don't see a path to making it. It's just very difficult to see, because without hope, then it's hard to do anything of any kind of positive nature. And so I just remember going into like the slums, and I don't use that word lightly. I mean, it's just real poverty-ridden areas, and looking kids in the eye and saying, one day you're going to travel the world. You can go anywhere from here. Like miracles happen, like hard work and determination and dreaming. And I really believe that if you set your heart to something, you can manifest it. I've seen that done many times in my own life. And people use the word manifest, but I mean, like if you desire to make a difference, you can make a difference.
Absolutely.
If you want to see change in the world, you can be the change in the world, you know? And right place, right time. I've seen that so many times, man, I can't even begin to tell you. And so, you know, I had a guy that he flew here from Cameroon, which is right next to Nigeria. And he was French speaking. And it was a miracle. I mean, how he got the money together, and people just handed him money, and he got to the airport and somebody turned around and handed him enough money to get a plane ticket. And he was just coming to America by faith. He got his visa and all this stuff, which a lot of people weren't getting. And I go pick him up in Orlando, and I drive him through the neighborhoods, you know, to get to where I live. And he looks at me and he goes, Paul, I know why Americans do not care about heaven and the other things. I said, what is that? And he goes, because when I died, I thought when I went to heaven, this would be it. He goes, you have nothing to look forward to. I was like, what? He gave me the perspective shift. He's like, this is what I thought heaven looked like. He's like, yeah, no, look forward to it. I said, why you guys don't work hard at your faith? You don't care. You're already in heaven.
My.
And I was like, wow, okay.
Thanks.
I didn't realize I lived in heaven, man. I mean, you know, it's all about perspective, isn't it?
Compared to where he probably came from, yeah.
Oh yeah, man,
for sure.
Well,
you know, and they say, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you showed me that like this kid from nowhere in the middle of nothing, he had a dream to come here, and he's walking around the streets in, you know, DeLand and Orlando. If he can do it, anybody can do it, man.
Anybody can do it.
That's
and
right.
You know, there was a rapper. His name is NF, and I don't think he cusses, but I think he's like really God-fearing church style. But he's really good. And he made you were talking about change earlier, and the change he actually said that people change. He says because the devil was once an angel to himself,
right?
And I went, you got to be kidding me, bro. But it's the truth. People change. Everybody changes.
Well, you can have a major shift in your thinking, but as long as you're thinking, I used to have a website called The Dog on a Rusty Nail, and it's this old joke about the salesman who gets stranded in the middle of, you know, the farm country, and his phone doesn't work, so he's got to knock on the door and borrow a farmer's phone. Mm-hmm. And the farmer, you know, is trying to talk to the guy, and he's like, "Hey, can you?" And the dog's just, and he's like, you know, he gets interrupted. He starts trying to talk to the guy again. You know, hey, can I borrow your phone? And finally, after a while, the salesman goes, "Hey, man, what's wrong with your dog, man? He's in pain or something. What's going on with him?" He goes, "Well, he's sitting on a rusty nail, and when it hurts bad enough, he'll move." And so my whole life was like, when it hurts bad enough, I'll make a change.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I've been in a lot of pain, so I've been moving, man.
That's the damn truth.
And good things come from that, man.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You're not going to go respect where you came from, but you're not going to go back to that era. You're not going to go. Right. You're not going to do it. You just keep going forward and just make the shift, make a pivot and go, nope. I'm going to stay in my lane and go over. You know, so what, so you said you had like a couple of viral videos on TikTok. Care to elaborate on a couple of these things?
Okay. So, like all of my early videos were people just giving me requests. And then when my account got to a certain, I guess, you know, a number or whatever, people were like, oh, he's too busy or he's too important now and I won't bother him. Even people say, you know, I really don't want to bother you, but would you mind, you know, telling my 8-year-old happy birthday? And I'm like, dude, I get to say happy birthday to somebody's 8-year-old. And sometimes they'll shoot me a video and they'll send it to me. And the kid's like, oh my God, this guy I see on TV is talking to me. And I was like, that is an opportunity to be something important to a kid. So I'm going to do that as much as I can. So I was always, you know, whatever. If you want me to do a shout out tomorrow, I'll do one. I love that kind of stuff. So this lady says, hey, you know, I'm a single woman and I really like your voice. And I get guys I meet in the clubs or on Tinder or whatever, and they're jerks. And I would love to have your voice on my phone as a cell phone recording. And for a single woman who's a professional, loves her family and her kids, she gives me the whole skit, the whole outline. And so I went and I sat for a few minutes in my car and I said, hello, you've reached one beautiful and busy woman, whatever it was.
Yeah.
She's busy taking care of her friends, her family, and me. Leave a number when you get to the end of the call or whatever, but I wouldn't wait by the phone. And it goes viral. It was the biggest viral video I had up until this last couple or whatever. But it just blew up, and I had thousands of people that messaged me and said, "My voicemail is on. Your voicemail is on my phone." So they'd play it on their iPad and record it on their phone or whatever. And women were like, "Oh, you know what? I put this on my phone to mess with my kids, so they think I had a man in my life or whatever." So a lot of different reasons to do that, but that was probably the coolest one because it was like protecting women, but also fun. It was like I've had even recently people were like, like they were in my life. Some people were in my life, some women were in my life the other night, and they're like, your voice is on my phone. It's my answering machine voice. And I love it.
$20. Make that money.
Most of it's free, but once in a while, like if you want a special one, I'll do it for 20 or 50 or whatever.
Fuck yeah.
Just a couple I did like that.
This is hold on. This is my voice. So yeah.
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah. So yeah, that was been a lot of fun, man.
Hell yeah. So what's your goals? What's your next move? What's your next pivot? Change?
Well, I've got some personal work goals that I'm just trying to work on. Dropped about 25 pounds in the last month.
Congratulations.
Healthier. Well, I mean, it sounds great. The Americans are the only ones that's like, wow, you controlled yourself. But and I love that. It's like, oh my God, how did you not overeat every day, you wealthy pig?
Yeah, you ate 3 chicken strips, not 5.
How do you do it? And I don't want to make light. Losing weight is difficult for a lot of different reasons. So, you can't just blanket make a joke, but that's why jokes work because sometimes you can.
It helps.
But I put on probably 50 to lose the 25. So,
make myself feel better.
I'm still up 25 is what I'm getting at. But yeah, just, with COVID, I blame COVID, but I just lost my motivation to eat right and to exercise. And then gyms were closed for 70 something days here.
Yeah.
We just couldn't do it, and I was just like, what, if the world's ending, I'm not ending in shape.
No.
I'm not dying in shape. If I die of COVID, I'm going to be a fat bastard.
Bro, I'm going to eat that big ass fucking turkey leg.
And I was doing it. I was eating stuff I wouldn't normally eat, and I was not working out, So, but enough was enough. I got to the end of my road where I was on that rusty nail, and I was like, you know what? It hurts. I'm getting back in shape. So, yeah. So that's my immediate goal. And then I want to see, what happens with the TikTok. I think I'm working on some merchandise stuff. I started a one love, one voice, or a one race, one love, one voice movement that's in the Society 6 stuff on my account on TikTok. And I'd like to do more with that, get that message out there and just do some branding. I did a video yesterday that's been seen like 170,000 times. And it was about, I have a transgender son and about being gender fluid. And I made the dad joke that I'm radiator fluid because I like to keep everybody cool. And then all these guys were commenting, I'm a radiator dad. I'm a radiator dad. I'm radiator fluid. And so I was like, I want to get some shirts and stuff that say radiator dad. And, I just want to take the positive message and see how far I can take it while I'm trying to make a living doing what I do in my regular life.
Do it. You've got the means, and you've got the I don't know, man. What is it? The charisma, the drive. You have it, and then you're gonna get it.
Thanks, man.
And it's all what do you call it? Organic.
Yeah, it's organic. It's like you're not forcing it to happen. You never sit over vegetables and you say, "Grow, damn you." You just make sure they have soil and they have water and they grow on their own. And so my philosophy of life is, if you've got a good heart and you treat people with respect and dignity, and the reasons why you do things, you're like, your motivation's good, even though sometimes you don't know the motives of your heart, you're still you're trying to do the right thing. Good things work out. Everything always works out. I saw a microcosm of life, and by having thousands of people in my life, where I was attending funerals and births and weddings all the time. And so I got to see life like sped up. I got to see, people at the end of life in their 90s and over 100. And then, young couples growing up, going from middle school to high school, getting married to having their own kids. And no matter what problem people would bring to me, over 10 years, I saw it be solved and life happen again and people flourish again. And, I'm talking about from the worst possible things you could ever hear of. And at some point, life was good again, and life was fun, and they were moving on, and they were moving into new seasons in their life. And with that perspective, I just think, man, I'm ready to get into this next season of my life, or this season of my life, and just have fun. Work hard and see what happens organically.
That's awesome. That is too friggin' cool, man. I'm so glad you got on this show. I'm so glad you replied and were like, hell yeah.
Man, and that's the other thing, man. I met you and I'm like, I saw your Vanilla Gorilla. I wanted to be Vanilla Gorilla, but it was already taken. And I was just like, damn it, he's got a great name. And I want to support you because I believe that what you're doing, I've seen all the hard work. I mean, you put a lot into it, into the show prep. Your communication is good. You guys are professionals. And so when you have that and you have a good message and you have a good heart, this thing's going to blow up, man. You're going to do very well for yourself. And I want to say, I was there when.
Yeah, you're gonna be there. You're there.
I want to say, he was just Vanilli Gorilla.
Oh no! Oh, you almost said Milli Vanilli. Oh
no! I was gonna say,
no,
it's Vanilla Gorilla because he's not lip syncing.
No, no.
I just want to say there, man.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
Had that big fat. Juicy beard, and it's coming back. It's coming back.
Yeah, it is. It is. I took that sucker down one day. I was on a live, and I just got. I think I was on patrol or something. And when you're sitting in a car or the SUV for 12 hours, and you have your vest and you have all your gear on, and it's all up here, and every time you move, the beard really gets in the way of everything. And I thought. And not only that, I kind of, I don't know, a lot of people, if you pull them over and you got this big old guy with this burly beard coming out, they kind of they don't know which way to look at you.
Well, they're not sure if you're a real police officer or not, I'm sure.
Correct. So, you kind of do your thing, you just do it. And then you get back in the car and you're like this again, and you're rotating the beard and it just doesn't feel right. So I went on a live one night. And I think I cut it just a little bit too short because I think the guards, I don't know what I don't even know what I was thinking. And I took it down and went, well, this was heart wrenching. This sucks. I took it down really low. So I just basically restarted. And within like the past couple of weeks, it just started just coming out of nowhere. So I sit in the car now and I brush it. Do you brush yours?
A little bit. I mean, I used to have a brush in my truck and I would just kind of mess with it all day long. But the funniest thing happened to me, man. Like I had a flat top and like military cut my whole life, almost all my life. And I couldn't grow a beard. And so I kept trying every year. And my ex-wife, she said, you look homeless, because it was coming all patchy and all this stuff. The year I turned 40, I started lifting 3 days a week and then 5 days a week and went on vacation. And my beard grew out. And so I grew this beard out and took a picture and shaved it off. And my kids were crying. My ex-wife, she was mad at me for growing it. She's mad for me growing it. And then I shaved it and she's mad for me shaving it. And I realized that my beard was makeup for me. And it made me actually more attractive because it hid like the pure ugliness of my face. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll keep my beard then. So when I left what I'd been doing, where I was clean shaven and short hair for my entire life, I went into construction. I was like, hey, can I grow my hair out and my beard down to my stomach? And they were like, yeah, grow your hair to your ass and your beard to your stomach. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
So now it's, it's pretty long now. It's like down. Yeah. They call me Viking Jesus sometimes when I wear it. I'm like, go in peace, my son.
So have you done the whole I think it's Instagram, or it might be I don't know which filter, I don't know which one has it, but they actually show without the beard. Have you done that one yet?
I love people too much. Nobody wants to do that. Well, I shaved my face one time, a cat jumped on my chest and started trying to cover it up. It was terrible. So I don't recommend it.
You should do that one time and just be like, okay, you guys, this is what it would look like. And then go.
People ask me all the time, show me a picture. And I was photogenic, so none of my pictures show you just how ridiculously ugly I was without a beard. So it's like you can't get it in 2D. You got to be there in 3D to see how poor that looks.
You get show me a picture of you without a beard, and you bust out like a baby picture.
I did. That's what I put. That's what the thing about puberty hit me hard. I put my little picture when I'm wearing a vest when I'm like 6 years old or 4 or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Chris said his beard was as long as like that one time, and it was. It was.
Chris,
he did have.
I'm so sorry, man. But it grows back, bro. It'll grow back.
It does. It does.
I shaved it off a couple of years ago I got my insurance license with the health and variable annuity, and I thought I'm going to go out here and sell insurance. I shaved my beard and I cut all my hair off, and my kids were like, "Ew," like that. That was. It's like my dad's this big, like burly, big bearded, big. Now you look like you did like when you were 10 years ago. Like you look. When I cut my beard off, I look like I'm 15 years old.
They did. They're like, put it back.
They're like, the disdain that they looked at me at. I was like, you know what? That's enough for me to just not cut it again. I'm not cutting.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can't afford chin implants, so I grew a beard. That's what I'm getting at. My chin actually starts right under my lip. It's just crazy. It
just goes straight there. You don't even have it.
This is my prosthetic chin, really, is what this is right here.
You called the beard makeup.
It is. Have you seen those guys, the trend where they shave their beard and it's just like, you don't want to comment because you don't want to be critical and you don't want to be negative, but they've made a mistake for at least 6 months. They're not going to be able to remedy that.
No.
That's me.
And that's what I did. When I shaved mine, I went.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
No. It's growing now. I actually go to the barber and I spend the money and have them trim it up and put the oil and bust out the straight razor, and it looks good for about 30 minutes. And by the time I get home, it's back to being curly. And I think I did it a couple of times before, and then just recently, not too long ago. But he said, "So how do you want your haircut?" And I went, "What?"
Yeah, I shaved my head one time for a youth group. I told them if I got 120 kids to come to this thing, I would shave it, or 200 kids, and 200 kids showed up. So I shaved my head bald, and that's not a good look for me either.
No.
So, my ex-wife said, if you ever do that again, I'll leave you. And I should have shaved it sooner, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I was going to say a joke, and then I thought, I don't know how touchy the subject is.
Sooner, right? I forgot that's all I was going to take.
So is that what happened? You shaved it, and you were like,
No. I wish that were it. That would have been simple.
Yeah, no. So you probably have like a whole lot of like a dents and nooks and crannies, like a English muffin.
Well, I mean, you see my forehead here. My forehead's been this size since I was 8 years old. I mean, I used to fall over when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it just the forehead just never ends. It's like it's scary. And I didn't realize that your hair is like antenna, because it's the first time in my life I ever bumped my head, is because my hair would always touch it first and you just kind of move. And bald, I don't know how people do it. I'm especially tall guys, really tall. I beat my head up on everything. But
I go into attics a lot, and it really sucks because there's a lot of nails that come down from the shingles.
Your antennas are gone.
Mm-hmm. So I wear like a hat. I buff up the hat a little bit. I'll turn it backwards.
So then you feel it hit the hat. Yeah, exactly.
There's also because it's literally when it's shaved, it almost as though like if a fly lands on it, you don't feel it.
Right.
It's the weirdest feeling.
Not,
you can go.
It's not that kind of sensitivity. Yeah.
You kind of go, I know you're there. I see you, and I don't feel you, and that's kind of crazy, all in the same sense.
Well, I shaved the sides of my head. You know, people are like, "Oh, you're trying to look like a Viking." Well, really, the truth is, before when Vikings started getting popular, I shaved the sides of my head because my hair was so crazy thick, and I wanted to grow a long hair like Fabio because I'm old, and I was growing my hair out, and I had this crazy afro, and my hair would just like stick straight up. It was so crazy. So I shaved the sides of it so that I could grow the length out without looking like a fool most of the time. You know, they call it the in-between stage. So that never went away from me. And so like, I'm just going to grow it and just keep growing it. Someone asked me, how long are you going to grow it? And I said, well, probably to the middle of my back anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just one tuft in the middle of my head anyway.
So Trace Atkins, do you have a motorcycle?
I do not. Oh man, Trace Atkins. Yeah. A lot of people are like, you're just like Trace Atkins. I was like, Trace, if you hear this podcast, brother, you know what I mean? Let's go out and I don't know. I could be your bodyguard. You could be my bodyguard. We could have some fun.
I think you both are the same height.
I want to get one of those big, hogs that, with the chopper. Yeah. I want it so bad. Funny story. One week I got invited to join 2 different motorcycle gangs. And it was in the same week. I had some problems with my truck. A guy came out in a wrecker and he's like, "You ride, man?" I was like, "No, but I want to get it. You want to join a motorcycle gang?" And I was like, "I don't have a motorcycle, so I think that's real important. Like, I think we're missing a step here."
So, in other words, you just want to hang out and be in a gang?
With a bunch of bikers. And 2 days later, another guy out of nowhere just, "Hey, man, you ever thought about joining I don't know, maybe they're recruiting. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything about it, but I was just like, well, I look like a biker. People say, "Oh, you look like a biker." I said, thank you. Is that what we're doing? Thank you.
Now, what would really throw people off is if you bought a Busa.
What is that exactly?
The Gixxer, like a Suzuki Gixxer 1300, I believe, a 1200 or a 1300. It's a cross rocket, but a big beast.
Yeah. That would be so much fun, man.
It would throw so many people off. You'd be like, "Yeah, I could rock a Harley, but I ride that bitch."
Well, when I was 20, I liked to wear the black jeans and the black boots and the tight shirts and all that stuff. And just Dax went.
Yeah, I used to ride. I had a whole bunch of bikes growing up, and they were all mostly sport bikes.
Nice.
I had an old 96 Ninja, and this was when I lived in Florida, and I saw a bunch of these females out by the it's so stupid. This is so stupid. So a bunch of females were out by the movie theater, and I just like came out from I don't know what store or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, look at all these hot chicks." So I get up real close to them, and I hit the front brake, and I brought the back tire up, so I did a little stoppie.
Yeah.
It came up too high, so I threw my head back so I can hit the back part of the seat because it was too high up. I was like, "Crap, I got to bring it down." Well, when I did, it teetered me to one side and I could not recover. So I just jumped off the bike and let it fall. I broke the mirror So it looked like instead of a dog ears that where the mirrors sit up like this, I had a broken one. It just flopped over. And then the coolant reservoir broke. And it just leaked coolant, and all the girls were like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Oh, look at this. Closed visor. I got to roll out." I rolled out. Bro, that was pre-tattoos and everything. I just rolled out. I was like, I do not want everybody seeing this.
Nice.
You know? But I loved riding. Riding is my I love it. But they've always been sport bikes, but I dig a Harley in a minute. I like the style, certain styles. I'm not a fan of trikes. Certain people can rock a trike if you've got, an issue, maybe your lower limbs or something, but rock a trike. But it's not mine.
Well, we got a lot of Harley stores here, and I lived near Daytona, and we had Vikingtower and all that. And it just kind of got to me every year. People were like, "When are you getting a bike? When are you getting a bike?" Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I moved away, I was like, I really am itching to get a bike now. Really want a bike. You should get a bike. Let's see, if you start really collecting dough from TikTok, get a bike and then paint it TikTok colors. Oh, I will tell you what, I will have Viking Nordic knots all over it.
Oh yeah,
like a whole Vikingtower type motorcycle. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be neat.
I think that would be awesome.
So BT Haunt says, join both, bring them together, and be the new leader. It's like a big old collaboration of the motorcycle gangs.
Oh yeah, I got
the bike gang.
I'm a little slow, man. I'm a little slow.
That's all right. That's all right, because we're about to end the show anyway. So
cool.
We're good, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'd love to have you back on a little bit later on too. But hang out backstage for a little bit. We'll get Wendy and Clinton back in, and we'll shoot the shit for about another few minutes, and then we'll say our goodbyes.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Give me just 1 sec.
Yeah, man. We're going on a trip. You got to sing something too. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to stand up and start singing. Do it. Come on, Trace Atkins. Get on it. A great show. Oh, somebody's in frame. You're about to fall asleep?
No, I said not purposely.
Oh, not purposely. Oh, man. You guys, so this was an awesome show. I'm really glad he jumped on, and I'm really stoked that he's here. So that was really cool. And I dig his voice. So the other day at work, I think it was yesterday, I was walking up to the house that I was getting ready to do the alarm system in, and I get inside. Well, I knock on the door, and I'm thumbing through the phone. And as I'm thumbing through it, all of a sudden I hear this voice like, "Hey." And I was like, "Whoa, man, I like your voice." Come to find out, this guy, cool cat, very, very knowledgeable, very nice, everything. We start talking, and that guy, he ended up being, he was some sort of physicist at one point, but he wrote songs, and his vast knowledge in the whole record town, Motown, everything. And he was also a singer. And he said that this where he said when you're an artist and you're making money, he goes, you're making money, right? He says when the producer has like 8 artists, he's making money off of each one of you. And that's where he wanted to be. And I thought, good Lord. So he was a good guy. I really liked him. And his voice, just an octave off of your voice. So when I wasn't even paying attention, I was thumbing through the whole phone trying to get my job going. And all of a sudden he was like, hey. And I looked up and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, whoa, man, I like your voice. Like, I don't even know the guy. Oh, you got a great voice. Didn't even know he was a singer at one point. And I was like, so we were shooting shit for a little bit. And yeah, I gave him information like, here, man, here's my number. I'd love to have you on the podcast because I want to hear what his story is. You know, and that's just some random guy at a house. And he was actually, I want to say he was also a pastor and everything else. So he was, man, he was good, bro. He was good. So at the end of every show, I always find some sort of motivational quote. This one is actually really good right now for the show. So everybody, I at the end of every show, there's always something. So this motivational quote here is going to be: success is not on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe. And that's Sumner Redstone.
Nice.
And I thought that I just thumbed through it. So it was just kind of like, there it is. So success is not on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. And sometimes it's built on catastrophe. And
nice. That's
real shit. So,
nice.
All right, my man, I'm going to drop you backstage for a little bit.
Cool.
We'll call it a show. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
This has been great, man. Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate being here.
No problem. Anytime. Door's always open.
Hey, same here, man. Say hi anytime.
Right. Absolutely. Hang out for a little bit. You guys, that was a great show. I really dig it. Great guy. Spread the word, man. Stay positive. Get off the bandwagon of hatred, because hatred sucks. And that's all there is to it. So Wendy, Clinton, if you want, hit that same link, come back. We'll shoot the shit for a little bit back here. And you guys, thank you for showing up. Thanks for watching the show. Really appreciate it. As always, be a better person and be better tomorrow than you were today. All right. Peace and hair grease.